So when you are having a chronic illness, you would like to be recovered, right? And then we think about this magic moment that you're fully healed. And then it's time to share your story. This is how I did it. But for me as a coach, the moments that people are still struggling and finding their own way through the trenches of having a chronic illness is actually much more valuable. And therefore, I am really glad to present to you Daphne's story. She is still in the trenches. She still has symptoms, but she managed to increase her activity, to go on beautiful holidays, to live while she's also in the release process.
Isn't it beautiful to reach a state of a peaceful state in the inside of yourself, no matter if you become symptom free like instantly or.
And I hope that you'll enjoy this interview. She's really open and really honest, and she has a lot to say. Enjoy. Hello, Daphne.
Hi,
Nice to see
Daniel.
you.
Nice to see you.
How are you doing?
Thanks, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Hey, and we're not here to talk about how great we're feeling right now.
Yes.
More about what happened before.
Exactly.
Because when I met you, you weren't feeling that great. Could you share with me what was going on in your life?
Yes, I could, of course. It was back in 2021. I was like, overworked, exhausted, and depressed since a few years before, but I had no PM, so no crashes. And then in September 21, I had 3 infections in a row. And from then on, I had like pretty severe crashes. I had difficulty recognizing that I was exhausted at all. I knew the word fatigue. I was a nurse after all, but I couldn't like connect to my condition. And I just felt awful. I had no words for it. In the beginning, I told everyone I had heavy arms. I could not even like say I'm exhausted. I just said like I had heavy arms and legs, and yes, I had these crashes, but I couldn't describe that either. And I just told people that at certain moments I have lost all my life energy suddenly. It was kind of sucked out of me, and I had no other choice than go home as quickly as I could, and then lay down, fell in a restless sleep, and then couldn't get out of bed for a few days afterwards. And yes, when I recovered from these crashes, I tried to resume my old life, which went really bad. But that meant that I had to write a master thesis. At that time, I was studying public health, and the master thesis was the only thing left I had to do. And yes, beside that, like, I went out partying, and with these things being the center of my life, I crashed in the end, and like all of that was repeating itself on and on. And yes, I completely identified with my achievements and my studies and being a party girl at that time. So losing these identities meant losing everything for me. I was convinced that if I didn't make it through my studies, I would fail as a person, and that if I stop partying, all my friends will like forget me very soon, and hardly anyone will remember me after a certain time. And so I finished my master thesis in bed, and then, like, when I handed it in, that was in October 22. After that, I tried to get an diagnosis, and I got it in December 22. And shortly after that, I got dumped by my current situationship. And after that happened, I got bedridden. And this like phase, I found you and the release program. And yes, that was how we met.
Well,
The
that's
two
a
of
very, you mentioned a lot of stuff, like symptoms, but also emotional feelings, the feeling that everyone will forget you, and identifying with certain behavior. So I can understand that that is a very difficult and overwhelming period.
Yes.
And was there anything else that you tried? Because it's not that straightforward, right, to get a diagnosis?
Yes, there were a few things I tried before, not that much, but yeah, so I like, as like a lot of people who get the diagnosis CFS, I tried brain retraining. That, yeah, it helped me a bit in the beginning, but yeah, not really. It didn't really feel right. I tried a lot of supplements, some high dose vitamin C infusions, ozone oxygen infusions, a lot of supplements, of course. Yes, yeah, I think that those were the things. Yeah.
And why did you resonate with the release program?
Yeah, so I was listening to a podcast, Superhelden ohne Cape. You gave an interview to the woman who she interviews a lot of people, and the most people, they like they had like a remission from a disease. A lot of them from CFS or long COVID, and they then, yeah, they tell about their healing journeys, and eventually tell something about their their strategies to heal. And also a lot of them have been becoming coaches afterwards, and all of their coaching programs didn't really resonate with me that much, because it included a lot of like, and either brain retraining, which felt like gaslighting me, or the Spoonie theory, which like feels for me like total. It kind of feels like damage control, and it's I think that the concept is built on like mistrust of the body and fear towards the body, and then there's a lot of checkups and supplements, a lot of activities, visits to various healthcare providers. And the only program, the only like paradigm of a coach that resonated with me was yours, because I felt like your program like would lead me to a way to accept myself as I am, and to learn how to love myself. And that was always something I wanted to, even though I repressed the desire for a long time. Yes.
You're going pretty deep. Yeah, I also did brain retraining, and as you know, I make quite a lot of critical videos about it. and receive also quite a lot of negativity. But that's sort of part of the job, because otherwise people don't click. No, don't touch my brain retraining. It's my one and only love in life.
I understand that, because like it's one of the first things that you like, that flip up, like that you will discover when you got CFS. And like it feels like a strategy to do something like within yourself, but for me it just felt like gaslighting myself, and tell myself like, oh my god, I'm yes, I feel that I feel great now, but I didn't feel great at all. I just felt awful, and I didn't want to tell myself that I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand. And about you also tried the Spoonie thing?
I didn't like try it, you know. I just went to some info Zoom meetings, and the coaches they kind of like promoted their ideas in those Zoom calls, and yeah, it was, yeah, it just felt like, yeah, it's like you said in one of your podcasts that how can it be that on one day you can have so much energy suddenly, and you can walk like 10,000 steps or even more, and then on other days not, and like 10,000 steps without crashing, of course, you know.
Yeah.
And that really happened to me. And then, yeah, so why should I put this mistrust towards my body to myself? That didn't feel right.
Yeah. And to be very honest, I actually started with the free program in the past with a little bit of that old school pacing, because I felt like, I've heard it so many times that it was important. But over time, I received so many criticism about it, and then I actually had to reflect on it, that it also didn't work for me. So then it was time to completely remove it from the program and make it different, something different. Yeah.
Yes.
Another way to deal with ourselves, to really feel what's really going on here. Is it really the
Yes.
activity, or is it something else that I'm doing?
Yeah. Hmm. I
So,
agree. Yeah.
and it's also good to mention that nowadays brain training is a lot more than what it used to be. There are
Yeah,
also
that's true. Hmm.
Yeah, there are also some brain training programs where you can practice being nice for yourself in your imagination. So that's something completely different, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, and then I remember we had a few coaching sessions, and it was great to meet you. And how did it go
Thank
from
you.
there?
Um, it always goes like up and down, you know. Maybe I go on by like what happened after my first releases. Um, I had my first inner child release, and like also the first session with you when I was bedridden. And yeah, it just felt incredibly good to look at the feelings I had suppressed for years. And sometimes it had a positive effect on my fatigue, and sometimes not. Of course, in the beginning, I was still very focused on what was happening with the fatigue and the other physical symptoms after the release meditation. But this gradually faded into the background of my experience, because I improved the relationship with one or more parts in these releases, and it felt so good, and it felt like becoming whole again, and freeing myself from the alienation from myself. And so the focus on the symptoms became less, because I realized what my real needs were, and they had little to do with going out partying and working hard. Of course, as I mentioned before, those were the things that were like driving me to do all of that. And I aimed to go back to my old life, but like release after release, it was like more that I discovered certain sides of myself and certain interests and parts of myself that I didn't know so far. And yes, my interests and needs were much more about spending time in the nature and expressing myself creatively through writing, painting, etc. And these activities were not being a high performer, and being a high performer in those activities were not important. And I found the connection I was looking for on the outside so much more on the inside, because I always felt lonely my whole life, and I was like always like looking for connection to people. And this is why I went to so many, like parties and like clubs and people, and like places where you meet a lot of people, and then you have this connections. And for the moments where everyone is under these substances, it feels so real, but it's all fake in the end. And and through the release sessions and the other tools of the program, I could really form some authentic and deep connection to myself. And so that led me to practicing releases and the other tools from the program on a daily basis. And then at some point, it happened quite automatically that I built authentic, deep connections with people, even though I hadn't forced it after time.
The moment where you first discovered that doing an emotional release had an impact on your symptoms, or that you became maybe symptom free, or that your symptoms decreased, what did that do to you?
I mean, in the beginning, it was there was like a high focus on the hope to get back to my old life, but on the second hand, it was like really the feeling of feeling more whole again, feeling less lonely, feeling less disconnected from myself. It felt like an invitation to just be like nice to myself, to look after what's after my needs, because that was something that I was like, I have been forgetting through all these years. I was like totally neglecting all of my needs, especially like in the work and study life, but already before in school life. I just like I was really focused on what did anybody else expect of me, and what can I do to please the needs of the other people.
I understand, yeah. And that makes you feel very lonely in the end.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I was really, really lonely for many years.
Yeah, that's hard. Hey, and how did it go from being bedridden to eventually going to Thailand?
Yeah, so I went to Thailand the first time in winter 2024. The month before I went there was really hard because I'm like I'm coming from a family where so my family is from my German family is from the DDR, and then my father is a political refugee from Iran. So there's a lot of fear everywhere from both sides of the family, and yeah, especially like my mother and my grandparents, like from my mother's side, they were like really afraid of me going to Thailand in my physical situation, but it just felt like so right, and I really wanted to do that. But in the weeks before, I just couldn't sleep at all anymore, and I had a lot of symptoms on the way when I flight there, and so the first days were really difficult, but then since I arrived there, it just felt great, and every day my health situation got better. It was my first major trip since the start of my illness, and the reason I traveled there was because the winter in Germany prevents me from spending a lot of time in the nature, which has a huge impact on my mental and physical symptoms. Yeah, and last year when I went there, so in 2024, I spent weeks on the beach, just reading, writing, and meditating. And most days, I didn't even think about my illness anymore. I was so in the flow that I had withdrawn all attention from my symptoms. There was no goal I wanted to chase, no state to achieve. I just wanted to be. And in this reality, symptoms didn't really matter. And my baseline, it improved immensely. And yes, but this year things were a little different. I was there again in winter for several weeks. My baseline, it was the same thing. My baseline, it took me a few days after arriving there. Then my baseline had improved a lot again shortly after arriving. But I exposed myself to much more triggers. I spent more time with different people. I went to a few sessions, among them yoga, sound healing, energy healing, breath work. Many feelings came up, and in one session that was rebirthing breath work, I was so confronted with all trauma that I was in a freeze state actually for 30 minutes. I had like lobster hands, and I couldn't move a millimeter, and my lips couldn't even form the word help. I just lay there making noises because I was afraid the facilitators would leave me alone in any moment. And this situation was really, really close to my worst case scenario, actually. Yeah. So in the end, I realized that my journey was far from over, my healing journey. I mean, and it was like okay. And so the tools from the release program are still my daily companions during this vacation and until this day.
Okay. Wow. And did you manage to get out of the freeze response when you were there?
Yes. So the facilitators were really good. They were really helpful. They gave me like a safe feeling. And after 30 minutes, I could slowly move my lips again. and then my toes, and yeah, the last what I could like use again were my arms and then my hands in the end. Yeah. I was really afraid, but it was, and yeah, it was a super interesting experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to reflect a little bit on traveling, when I had chronic fatigue syndrome, I discovered that I would feel like, when I still believed in pacing and the baseline, that I felt so much better and capable of doing things while I was enjoying myself, or
Yes,
expressing and laughing and having joy and being in nature. So that's why
absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. So yeah, it's so the winter in Germany is so long, and since I'm sick, then I know that spending in the time in the nature is such a big game changer for me. And there I will just spend 7 or 8 hours a day outside, and spending like 3, 4, 5 hours just like being on the ground, being connected to the ground, to the earth. And that match makes such a really huge impact on my symptoms.
yeah. So that's basically a great form of calming down the nervous system and avoiding triggers. And then combining that with breath work is pretty powerful, because then you can let go of a lot of old layers of stress, but maybe it was a bit too much what you were doing.
Yeah, that's what I guessed. But yeah, uh, I mean, I do breath work on a actually daily basis. I yeah, I love the two different breath work tools from your program. I do them like, yeah, I do the 90 breath work at least once per week, and also the other one once per week, and then like some other different types of breath work. I I do one that resonates with me each day.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes when I'm stressed, I also do 5 minutes of a round of breath work, and then listening to some crying music
Hmm.
to make sure I get the stress out of my body and to feel calmer afterwards. What do you think about? I mean, what we were saying at the time was pretty unique, I think, because no one really made that connection between trauma, stress, and coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms is then something that you do to avoid feeling something, like, going for a party when you feel lonely. What do you think about that approach right now?
So yeah, definitely, because like, I mean, um, back then when I was bedridden, um, I had to, I had to, I couldn't follow my two major coping mechanisms, that would be like being in loud social environments and to present my value due working. So like prove to everyone that I'm a valuable person via working my ass off and neglect all of my needs, and just like people please anybody else. So I was really forced to yeah, let those coping strategies be, and the only choice I had was to tune into me and my trauma and ask myself, why am I doing that, and why is it so hurtful to don't do that? And that, yeah, that took me pretty far
Yeah,
in my
but
healing journey.
yeah, the thing that I'm looking for is like, so we have, on one hand, we have these urges to please, for example, and to find company. On the other hand, we have trauma, but the biggest problem is, of course, the symptoms. So for most people, it doesn't make sense to look at these things because they just want to become symptom free.
Mm. Yeah, yes, but isn't it beautiful to reach a state of a peaceful state in the inside of yourself, no matter if you become symptom free like instantly, or then maybe a few days or weeks after you give yourself time to breathe. Isn't it the goal to just like accept what is, give yourself time to give your like your subconscious mind the chance to bring up whatever there is, whatever needs to be coming up, whatever needs to show to yourself, and just wait for, just yeah just give yourself the chance to lay down and accept what is. And yeah.
Beautifully said. Is there something else that you would like to share that is really important for people who are desperate to find healing somehow?
I mean, especially like for people who really feel the urge to do stuff and to go back in their old life. Like if the urge is so strong, then do what you think you need to do and just see what happens. It seems like you kind of need the experience to test your relationship with doing nothing and finally be able to enjoy doing nothing. And yeah. And then on the other hand, I would say, remind yourself every day to be kind to yourself and allow the fear, feel it, then it won't rule you. There's no such thing as laziness. It's an invention of capitalists, and don't work your ass off to make a few people rich.
I like this. You got some more strong opinions.
Not now, but like if you have a particular question, I'm a strong sentence dropper and sharer in any case.
Yeah, and that's actually really important to just share it and sometimes say something controversial just to get it out. Yeah, we don't want to
Yeah.
hear that. We all want to be good citizens.
Yes, I wanted to be a good citizen. Yeah, and a good daughter, a good granddaughter. But yeah, that was definitely not the things who led me to joy, and that was a hard thing to learn.
And what do you want now?
What I want now, that's a big question. I'm currently on early retirement until March 26, and I haven't made a decision about my professional future yet. It may be that I return back to paid work because, I enjoyed my public health studies, and I have a passion for scientific writing. One of my hobbies now at the moment is writing essays, which is very close to scientific writing. It might be that when I work that I develop symptoms again, but then I just stop working, and in time another door will open for me. It won't lead to situation I had in 2022 when I thought my world was collapsing. And I just try to trust in the process. I have a vision for the future in which I'm able to be in different places and have a good healthy balance between work and relaxation. And I don't really need a lot of money to be happy. And yeah, then there's your vision of opening a healing center, which is also something that resonates with me. I can well imagine working with others on joint projects or working for the projects of others. And there are still unanswered questions regarding my life path, and I'm excited to see what comes next. Since I simply trust the flow, good things have been happening. For instance, I helped a friend who started a retreat series. I held space at one of her retreats, and I met my current partner there. And right now, the relationship is my biggest teacher, and some wounds related to attachment have been exposed, and my partner and I have realized the potential of healing together, which is really great. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now during this week's.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Then, yeah, thank you for the interview, Daphne.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. Thanks for everybody who was listening.
Okay.
Have a great day and a beautiful time.
And it seems Daphne is gone. So thank you so much for for watching the interview, and I wish you a beautiful healing journey, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.